Robison, not Robison, Robison.
It's okay, I answered either, even Robinson sometimes. Yay. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. You know, in a lot of ways, this is. I'm coming home today. I'm from Provo. My dad taught and worked at BYU, and so for a few hours, it's really fun for me to come home. I remember when his office was in the administration building, and I would sometimes, when I went to school here, would study in his office, and so it's kind of fun for a few hours to come back home and spend at BYU. We love BYU. I married my husband, he's a civil engineer from BYU, and he got his MBA from BYU. And my son, who's helping me today, he's in the finance department, and he's here at the Y. And so yeah, we love BYU. We're big BYU fans, and that basketball game on Saturday was awesome. It was so awesome. Watch that. So anyway, okay, the chocolate-covered wagon what is the chocolate-covered wagon? Uh-oh. I don't know anything about PowerPoint, so he's supposed to tell me. Yay. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's going. Okay. What is the chocolate-covered wagon? Okay, well, maybe I better switch places with you. Okay, how about I stay stand here? Yeah. Okay, what is the chocolate-covered wagon? Okay, we're a candy store, and we have with the chocolate in the name, we work with chocolate. Does everybody like chocolate? This happens to be dark chocolate, which is becoming much more popular. Utah is a milk chocolate state, though. We sell mostly milk chocolate. And what we manufacture, candy and chocolate. We make fudges, taffy, saltwater taffy, caramel. And I thought this was really cool, so I wanted to make you all want some chocolate. So anyway, why don't you go to the next one? We have 2 locations that Brother Fox mentioned. We have one in Sandy. The Sandy location, we've been for 20 years, and it's on 94th, and it's at the mouth of, not too far from the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon, where, you know, that's the canyon that Snowbird and Alta is at. And then we have another location in West Jordan. It's in Gardner Village. Does anybody know where Gardner Village or heard of Gardner Village? Anyway, but we've been there almost 3 years. This particular store was in Trolley Square. I don't know if you know where Trolley Square is, but we were in Trolley Square 28 and a half years. And then a few years ago, we had the opportunity to move from Trolley Square to Gardner Village. And really, it's really fun. This business is really, really fun. It's a fun business. So I've always been told that it's good to start a talk with some good jokes. So I have some that I've printed out for you. 7 days without chocolate makes 1 week. That's a good one. Haha. And the next one. Okay. This one, we put this on a T-shirt once too. Diet is a 4-letter word. Every time I say it, I must wash my mouth out with chocolate. Ah, haha. But this next one, the next one that I brought is I can't give up chocolate. I'm not a quitter. And we put this on a T-shirt, and most of the employees wear this. And this is kind of my motto. We just keep making chocolate and dipping chocolate and cooking candy. So anyway, these are a few of the products that we make. It looks like we've got some haystacks and nuts and shoes and wagon wheels, which is chocolate and nut. We dip these pretzels in caramel and then chocolate, and we call them spokes, if you get it. Like chocolate-covered wagon has wheels and spokes. So we kind of like to be creative with some of the names of some of our items that we use. So here's a few of the things we make. It was not too long ago, it was Valentine's, and so Valentine's is all about chocolate, strawberries, and raspberries. So we have a video here. This is the milk chocolate. This is, by the way, the most popular that we sell is the milk chocolate. But Valentine's is a big chocolate holiday, and we sell a lot of chocolate, dipped strawberries, dipped raspberries, and just chocolates. It's really fun. This is some pictures of Valentine's. Again, we kind of mentioned that with the strawberries, but the candy business is really seasonal, and so we like to have lots of things, specialty items for the seasonal time. Valentine's is one of the big ones. In our Sandy location, it's probably the busiest day, or the 2 days leading up to Valentine's are the busiest days of the whole year in that store. Easter's really big. There's our chocolate bunnies. We make lots of Easter eggs. We write names on them, hundreds of eggs. It kind of gives you an idea of what we do for Easter. And then, of course, there's St. Patty's Day. St. Patty's Day is kind of just a little bump. It's not a big candy holiday, but it's still fun. And then there's Halloween. And in the past, December has always been our busiest month of the whole year. But since we have moved to Gardner Village, they have it's 6 weeks of Halloween, and it's very family friendly. It's called Witch Fest, and it's not in an icky way. It's very family friendly. It's good, and it's fun. It's really, really fun. Lots of caramel apples. In fact, you notice Valentine's, it's all about the strawberries. Well, and at Halloween, it's all about the caramel apples. We broke the record last year. What was it?
17,000.
17,000 caramel apples in October. So, but
yeah, and that we have to make them in 200 apple batches, and that usually takes like anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So some days we're making 10 batches a day. So it's very time intensive. I don't know, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how many that actually is. It's a lot.
It's a lot of caramel apples, and it's really fun though. This one happens to be our most popular one. It's got it's a caramel apple with white chocolate and cinnamon and sugar. I don't know if you guys eat caramel apples, but I thought that was kind of strange because it's white chocolate, which white chocolate's not really chocolate. It just acts like chocolate. They call it chocolate, but it's not. But anyway, and they have what they have is they have a few nights. They have their it's called Witches' Night Out, it's really girls' night out. But lately it's and people dress up like witches, and they have their hats, and it's just really, really fun. And it's really friendly, family friendly. We've noticed a lot of brothers, husbands, and boyfriends that go there. I think they want to see what's going on because it's pretty crazy. It's really fun though. It's crazy. I put in this picture just to show more about the caramel apples. I think it's so weird that the plain caramel apple you'd think would be our bestseller, but it's not. It's really the ones with chocolate on it. I put these two pictures in because that's Dale, and he's in Sweden on a mission, and that's Devin, and he is in, where's Oklahoma? Oklahoma, and they helped us last October, so I wanted to put them in there. It was really fun. You see everybody dressed up like witches? It's really fun. It's crazy. Okay. All right, so these are our three most popular ones. Like I said before, that's the one with the chocolate on it. Seems to be the bestseller, but it looks like Cody's dipping some pecan classics, which we sell. We still sell a lot of everything. So, is it dinner time? Are you guys hungry? Okay. Yeah. Here's a few more items. I got Mark. He's working out with some dumbbells made out of marshmallows. But this is our white chocolate popcorn. We make fudge. We make giant s'mores. Just a few things that we make. This is some more of that white chocolate that's that's really popular. And this is some sea salt caramel. We make our own fudge. So there's some fudge that we, I don't know if you can notice the names, but we have a lot of fun coming up with the names on some of the items, like I mentioned before. So anyway. Okay, so this is what we put on most of our packaging on our boxes that we ship out. Have a good old-fashioned taste of Utah. And this happens to be a dipped Rice Krispie treat. And it's shaped like Utah. Can you see what the tag says? We sell a lot of those. It's crazy. Okay, so I want to spend a little bit of time on this. This is our saltwater taffy. I think this thing's going to fall off. Oh, what? It did fall off. I was hoping that it would fall off, and then I didn't. Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay, this is our saltwater taffy. I like this because this was one of the first recipes that I came up with myself. It's a very tender spot in my heart for this. The taffy puller there is about 80-ish years old. It is electric, and my husband's rebuilt it a bunch of times. But she's pulling taffy. Now, that taffy actually looks a little bit like caramel, but it's actually saltwater taffy. And by pulling it, it will expand it, and it will come and it'll turn white. And then all of these flavors that you see in this bucket here, we pull on that machine and then we hand wrap it. And this is Brianna, and she's doing a really good job for us. And as you see, it's starting to turn lighter, and then she's going to actually flavor it and color it while it's on the puller. You know how whipped cream expands when you whip it? That's kind of what happens when you pull taffy. It expands and becomes lighter and fluffier. So it's really cool. This is at the Gardner Village location in West Jordan, and the taffy puller is going most of the time. And so you can kind of get to see it being made, and the kids love it. It's kind of fun. I think this is cinnamon. She's putting the cinnamon on there. So most of the time when people think of saltwater taffy, they think that's the candy that you get at Halloween that's the last one you eat in your trick-or-treat bag. And so, but our taffy, but you eat it, you still eat it, but our taffy is known for being very soft and creamy. And so, as you can see, now you'll see it's going to start changing colors. And I think that's cinnamon, so it's going to be pink. So. Can you see it? You just see it turn white, and now it's turning pink. I think we're almost done here. We actually brought some, so if you really want to try some, then we have some down here later. So. Anyway, all right, she's done. Okay, so then this next shot is this cutter, I've been told, is over 140 years old. It's very high tech, not. We take the taffy off the puller, and the employees they make snakes, and then they snake it through it. Can you see how it kind of has a crank to it? And then it chops it. It's really old. I think it was 18 something. I can't remember how old it was. It's really, really old. I have 4 of them. So they're really hard to come by now. So, and then how we wrap our taffy, it's this old, it's an old style wrapping technique that we use. And it's got a pretty rosette on the top, and you'll see Michelle, she's gonna show how to wrap it once she gets it all stuck, because it's pretty sticky. The reason why I have the Food Network on here is that the Food Network actually featured us. I don't know if anybody watched Food Network. They featured our saltwater taffy on the Food Network, and at the time that they came, they actually were at our stores for early in the morning till late at night, and it was for like 5 minutes. But I guess that's with editing. It just takes a long time to take a lot of film. So this is from the other side of the other view of the cutter, and that's Lauren. She's wrapping. They weren't very happy with me filming this, but you can see the pretty rosetti on the top. And I have this on here too because during the Olympics, the 2002 Olympics, they did an Olympic pin, and it was based on that old style wrap. So that was kind of cool. We really liked that. Looks like Michelle's dipping some caramel apples over there. So, okay, so we're moving on to the caramel. This is another biggie for us. And we cooked the caramel and the taffy from scratch. And we actually wrap the caramel the exact same way that we do the taffy, with the pretty rosetti. And this is Marin. She's going to show how to do the caramel. The reason why the Food Network's on this one is because they featured two things. They featured our old-fashioned saltwater taffy and our caramel, our country caramel. And this is the country caramel. And so we have no idea how they found us, but they did. And it was very cool. It was very, very fun. I think the cameraman, if I remember correctly, his son was the drummer on Incubus, which is a group. You guys probably know about that. I don't really know that much about them. So. But he thought it was really cool. Okay, so this is the part you're going to like the best because we have made a cougar paw just for this. And so what we did is we put the caramel, the country caramel, in some molds, and we ran them through this enrober, and the enrober is covering the chocolate, or covering the caramel in chocolate, and so we made this. And so if I could have my helpers come, and we brought some, so you guys can taste the caramel. So, is that okay? All right. All right. So, just think there's two of them. So we need some helpers. So what it is, it's the milk chocolate caramel, and then some of them are sea salt caramel, and some of them are just the country caramel. And so you see the blue, BYU blue. So anyway, we call these cougar paws. Yeah, BYU. So and we made these especially just for you guys. Did you get one? Did you get one? So later, if you want to try the saltwater taffy, I'm probably not, this mic's not even helping. If you want to just taste the taffy and just the plain caramel without the chocolate, we do have some samples there if you're interested. So anyway. What's our next thing? Yeah, that would be fine. Absolutely. Is it good? Have you tried it? So what's the next slide, you know? It doesn't say, does it? Okay, I can be talking about that. Go to that. Okay, and one of the reasons, oh no, it's wrapped. It'll be fine. If it lands on the ground, it's fine. It's wrapped. So the reason why I put this slide up here is because these are just a few of the items we've been featured. AAA put us in their regional magazine for a sweet place to go. Desert News. I talked about the Food Network, the channel. This is actually Food Network, the magazine, and a couple of years ago they did a Great American Candy Store Search, and so they picked one candy store in each state that was their pick for their choice in candy stores, and guess what? We won Utah. So we highlighted that one. So this is the magazine, so we're kind of proud of that. We've had Big Buddha kind of visit us, and we've been featured on most of the local channels and the newspapers too. So, in the summertime when the kids are out of school, we do a Camp Chocolate, and we have some pictures on how the little kids, how they come, and we make a covered wagon out of a Twinkie, and the wheels are little cookies, and we have them. They make all kinds of chocolate creations, and we have them dip strawberries, and it's just really, really fun. So I put that picture up there because it's really fun. Kids really like it. So, okay, so this part I'm going to read because there's some really important things I want to cover. And so I prepared some things that I would like to read. So I hope that it's not boring. I tried to write it so it wouldn't be boring. So, so while you're eating, did you like it? Is it good? All right. Okay. All right. So how did I get started? It's kind of an interesting story, and I credit my father for getting me started. I suppose what really prepared me for running a business goes back to watching my father. He was my example, and in my opinion, a true entrepreneur. I lived the first 10 years of my life in Tucson, Arizona. My father was an institute director at the U of A. He had a bachelor's of science and master's from BYU. We really didn't have a lot of money, and so I remember that although he loved teaching the gospel and teaching the college students, he loved that he knew he needed to support a wife and 5 kids. He worked tirelessly in every spare minute that he had. He was a mining consultant, but he also had managed an outdoor drive-in. Do you guys know what that is? Do they even have those anymore? It's a movie theater. He managed a movie drive-in. He was a reporter for the local newspaper and invested in several small businesses. After being hired by BYU, we moved to Provo and added child number 6. He didn't slow down. He dabbled in real estate, owning 3 houses, 2 of which he rented. At one time, he owned all the Orange Juliuses in Utah. I think it was 5. While still working at BYU and teaching his religion class that he loved so much. I might add that he was a part owner in 3 Orange Juliuses in the Bay Area and a part owner in 2 more in Pennsylvania. He was on a flight one evening and sat by the Orange Julius regional representative, and after listening intently and asking many questions, he decided that an Orange Julius in Utah might be a good investment and keep his kids busy. I had 4 older brothers, too. There were 6. I remember my first job was working at the Orange Julius in Cottonwood Mall on Saturdays. I was only 14 years old and I hated it. I would much rather stay home and comb my horse's mane and tail and ride in the foothills of Provo. I hated it until I started getting a paycheck. I liked getting a paycheck. I had my own money. We didn't get an allowance at my home. We did jobs, and we earned our own money. I later managed my father's Orange Julius in the University Mall. He taught me how to run a business. I suppose that is why when the opportunity came for me to own my own business, I did not hesitate. There was a little candy store located by my dad's Orange Julius in the University Mall. My father noticed that it was busy. Well, we like candy, right? It was a candy store that sold cotton candy, popcorn, caramel corn, fudge, lots of bulk candy, and some saltwater taffy. My father told the owner that if he ever wanted to sell his store, that he might be interested in purchasing it. Well, the time came that the store became for sale, but there was a catch. You see, he also had another candy store in Trolley Square in Salt Lake City. Do you guys know where Trolley Square is? And it would have to be a package deal. Really only being interested in the University Mall store, my father asked me if I was interested in owning my own business. I was single, 20-something. You guys are all 20-something. And lived in an apartment in Murray at the time. He would be my partner and would help me with the down payment, but I would have to pay him back with interest. And I would also need to make the monthly payments for the balance due as well. I said sure, although I knew nothing about candy and chocolate except that I liked candy and chocolate. My father helped me create an S-Corp corporation and set up the DBA. He helped me get my business license, worked out a new lease with Trolley Square, and there I was. I had a business. I was so excited that I could hardly stand it. What an adventure. Shortly after buying my candy store, Trolley Square filed for bankruptcy. I thought, you have got to be kidding me. And I cried like a baby. It was in the news and everything, so I thought that not one person would ever go to Trolley Square anymore, and I didn't know how I was going to afford to pay all my bills. Sometime later, it was announced that a mall developer was purchasing Trolley Square, so yay. So for the next year and a half, I calmed down. I tried to figure out the candy business, and it was very different from the Orange Julius, but in many ways, the business model was similar. This is what I learned. The candy business is very seasonal. You have Christmas, Valentine's, Easter, Mother's Day, and Halloween. So how do you bring the seasonal candy in and not get stuck with it after the season's over? And what do you do in between the season to make more money? The business I purchased came with a popcorn popper, a cotton candy machine, and a candy and fudge cooker, and a taffy puller. I did learn how to make cotton candy, pull taffy, pop popcorn, make caramel corn, and fudge from the previous owner. And that was a good place for me to start because, as mentioned before, I did not know what I was doing. I won't lie though, it was really hard making the store payments and paying all my other bills. I struggled. I needed to somehow increase my sales. I did own a taffy puller, but the taffy base was purchased from another candy business. We did pull, flavor, and hand wrap the taffy at our location to sell it. It was a lot of work. I thought that by selling more saltwater taffy, we would be a good way of increasing sales. So I had to I handmade a cutesy sign on poster board and placed it by the saltwater taffy, and it said, "Old-fashioned saltwater taffy from Salt Lake City." Surprisingly, that sign worked. I started to sell more taffy, especially with the tourists. It may have something to do with the Great Salt Lake or Pioneers or maybe Saltaire, and it was kind of fun to watch it being pulled too. I made other cutesy signs for the other items that we sold, but it helped a little bit. But the sign that helped the most was the taffy sign. I then realized the power of marketing and branding. Got any marketing students in here? Yeah. The taffy now became my main focus, and I was thrilled that sales were going up, but the profit margin was terrible. A lot of the items sold in the store were made by someone else. I did know that the profit margin was greater on the candy I would make. I then turned my attention to anything that was sold in my store that I could make myself. We had a great markup on the cotton candy and the popcorns. The fudge wasn't as good a markup, but it was better than purchasing it from someone else because it was fresh. So what if I cooked my own saltwater taffy instead of bringing it in? That would definitely increase my profit margin, but it was scary. I was in uncharted territory, and there was no YouTube or Food Network in those days to learn how to make candy. I checked out lots of cookbooks from the library and started learning more about candy making. I also thought that I could use help from where saltwater taffy all started, Atlantic City. Anybody been to Atlantic City or from Atlantic City? I called the main saltwater taffy store in Atlantic City to help I called the main saltwater taffy store in Atlantic City to see if they would help me, and they did. They didn't give me their recipe, but they gave me lots of good tips, and let me tell you, I will never forget that kindness. That meant a lot to me. I learned from the gourmet cookbooks that real butter, cream, pure vanilla, and cane sugar made the best candy. The best chefs always use the best ingredients. I began developing my own recipes and searched out to find the best flavoring and coloring that I could buy. If I was going to make my own taffy, it had to taste great. I must add that I burned a lot of candy in those early days, and I learned the hard way, but I did learn. The decision to make my own saltwater taffy was a very good one. Even though I was scared to death, what if I couldn't do it? I even had a few people tell me that I couldn't do it. That just made me more determined to prove them wrong. I finally came up with a winner of a recipe. It made soft and creamy, yummy saltwater taffy. Sales kept going up, and we started shipping our taffy all over the country. But even better than that, I had a much better profit margin. I decided that we should change the name of the store. When I bought the store, it was called Beehive Candy. And so I thought, marketing, I thought, let's change the name of the store to Trolley Taffy Station, and we remodeled it. The name tells where we were at, Trolley Square, and the taffy refers to what we sold, saltwater taffy. Marketing again, marketing. It would make my whole day when someone would tell me how much they loved my taffy. I had so many people tell me that every time they came to Salt Lake City, they would come and get my saltwater taffy and take it home. It didn't stop with taffy for me. I sold a lot of caramel as well, so I decided the caramel was another challenge for me to take on. Everyone loves caramel. Caramel was much harder to figure out, though. I remember thinking, caramel is hard. I did come up with 3 awesome recipes. The country caramel, I think that's what you tried, the country caramel. And then I have an apple caramel, which is a little bit different. And then I have a caramel corn recipe that we use for the caramel corn. Moving forward and continuing to learn and come up with new recipes became my favorite thing to do. I even changed the recipes that originally came with the store and made them my own. I guess I truly caught the candy making bug. So 10 years after the sweet journey began, I decided to expand, opening a location in Sandy. It was going to be more difficult because it was not an existing candy store. The location we chose was not far from Little Cottonwood. You saw the picture of that canyon. Since this location was not located in Trolley Square, we couldn't call it Trolley Taffy. We decided to move towards chocolate. Yay, I love chocolate. We wanted chocolate in the name, but still keeping true to our now famous saltwater taffy and caramels, and to keep it all about Utah. How do you make caramel and taffy better? Add chocolate. My husband came up with the name Chocolate Covered Wagon, and he's pretty proud of his play on words. We must have been doing something right because we caught the attention of the Food Network and the Travel Channel. Sometimes the free advertising is the sweetest and the best. They helped push us forward and put us even more on the map. And it was so fulfilling when your hard work and products are really appreciated and realized. After 28 and a half years in Trolley Square, I had an opportunity to move that store to Gardner Village. I went from one historical landmark to another. This was a good move for me, and I have opened other locations, and some haven't worked out so well. So bigger isn't necessarily better. Sometimes it's just a lot more work and not necessarily more money. This is my 31st year of being in business, and 2016 was the highest year of gross sales so far. Even though my favorite thing to do is making candies and chocolate, I must add that running a business has many complicated, intricate, moving parts. You must be aware of cost of goods, labor, expenses, accounting, marketing, and taxes and fees. I've come up with a few things that have helped me with my business, and perhaps they will help you, especially if you're interested in starting your own business. And Mark, we got this on the PowerPoint. Oh, you did it? Oh my heck. Okay, so I said heck. Okay, don't be afraid to try. Even if others tell you you can't do it, don't be afraid. That's really important. Number 2, expect to work hard. Be prepared for long hours. That you will be working long hours. Number 3, try to be honest and fair in your business dealings. Try to have integrity, keep high standards, and don't cut corners. Okay, number 4, set high but realistic goals. If you set your goals too high and you don't reach them, it might be harder to stay positive. Sometimes you just need to hang in there when things get tough. And number 5, try to stay positive, especially in the early years and during tough times. And yes, it helps if you love what you do. Number 6, keep good records. This is good for forecasting for the next year and for setting goals. Number 7, be open-minded. Sometimes my best recipe that I have come up with have been total accidents. The recipe said don't do that, and it happened, and it was an accident, and it ended up being a wonderful thing. The caramel apple caramel that's how we have that. Number 8, appreciate your customers and treat them well. We love our customers and listen to them, and many times they give good ideas, and sometimes we even act upon them. Customer service is so important. Number 9, hire employees that share your vision, follow instructions well, and that are good team players. It's okay to be a little picky here. I'm mostly talking about people's tone, communication skills, and work ethic. With this age of texting and emailing, I have found that some people really don't know how to communicate well face-to-face. Employees can make or break your business. And number 10, listen to the Holy Ghost. This has been a big one for me. I've regretted it when I haven't listened. I feel so very blessed and appreciative because I couldn't have done it alone. I have a wonderful family that helps me so much. My husband and my son are my biggest cheerleaders. I don't know why I'm crying. They are so supportive, and that support has been crucial in the success of not my business, but our business. I had very supportive parents that were my partners in the business in the beginning and believed in me. And they have been gone for 11 years now, and not a day goes by that I don't think about them, and I miss them so much. Support's really important. I have felt the Lord's hand in my life in many ways. It was about 15 years ago that I decided to change my business plan. I decided that my business wasn't really my business. It was the Lord's business, and I had better represent Him well. I listened to a talk by Steve Young when he was questioned by, I listened to a talk by Steve Young when he was questioned why he paid so much tithing by a teammate, and he said something like, well, everything belongs to the Lord, and besides, He lets me keep 90%. Well, 90% is a lot. That struck a chord with me, and so then and there, I decided that I would try to run my business like it was the Lord's. I wanted to try to run my 90% in a way that would be pleasing unto Him. Little did I know that at times wonderful and unintended things would happen by having that attitude. It changed everything. Running the business became easier somehow, although it was still a lot of work, and sometimes bumps would come along. The Lord helped me through them. Opportunities would come my way that I couldn't believe. Yes, it's good to have the Lord as your business partner. And I would recommend that business plan to anyone who asks me. You are all so young, and this is the most exciting time of your life. You are at a wonderful universities with professors who love you so much, and they want what's best for you. They really do. So study hard, think positive, be creative, and listen to the Holy Ghost. But above all, believe in yourselves and don't be afraid. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ.